Hello, Just Too Good here, and today I'm going to be showcasing all of the LEGO Disney Pixar Cars characters. So first we'll take a look at each individual character. These will include a look at the bigger vehicles as well, who come as characters. And then we'll take a look at the different printed versions for each character. So for the first part, when we take a look at each individual character, I'm just going to base it off of their most recent version. So this one right here is, of course, the first character, Lightning McQueen, who is the main star of the Cars series, unless you count Cars 2, which for some reason they made Mater the main star of that. This design is actually from the Smokey's Garage set, but you'll just see how many different versions Lightning McQueen has, especially in the 2017 line. Now, of course, since it is a 2017 line, the main difference is that it uses one base right here for the build and also a 1x2 tile instead of a 1x2 plate up front. So that's it for Lightning McQueen, voiced by Owen Wilson in the movies. And then we have Mater, which this version of Mater is the 2017 version, which is a lot different from the 2011 version. Again, it uses that one single piece and 1 or 2x4 tiles, which the original one used some 2x4 bricks. And he only appears in one set, oddly enough, in 2017. Actually, really not oddly enough, because in Cars 3, he really has a small role. But yeah, that's really it for Tow Mater. And then we have Cruz Ramirez, which is a character that really is probably the second main character of Cars 3. And if you've seen Cars 3, you know what happens and everything. And I think she was actually a really well done character. So I like getting her in LEGO form. There's actually 2 versions of her. We'll take a look at the second version later on. Nice yellow design, very sleek. And she does work at the Rusty's Training Center. So that's it for Cruz Ramirez. Then we have Luigi, which this version of Luigi, you guys know I do not like at all. I think it looks ridiculous. 2011 version was so much better, but we'll take a look at that one later. Since this is the most recent Luigi, I guess I gotta take a look at this one first. Nice printed pieces on the back though, and that's it for Luigi. Guido's not too much better. I love the original Guido. This one's okay. It just looks a little bit weird with this piece right here. At least he's smiling and he has 2 wheels, a very different build from the 2011 version. And then we have Sheriff, which is really the only other character from Radiator Springs in the 2017 line that didn't appear in the original line for Lego Cars. So it was nice to actually get him, even though he doesn't really have a huge part in. I don't even think he speaks in Cars 3, but still a pretty nice build. Got Sheriff printed on the side. He comes in the Wiley's Butte speed training, or whatever you want to call it. So lots of nice prints all over there. And then moving on to some of the veterans, because that's really it for the Radiator Springs people and Cruz. We have this one's Smokey, and Smokey is, I think, Doc Hudson's old trainer. I believe it was him. It was either him or Junior Random. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was Smokey. And a very cool design. I love the coloring on him and some nice printing. Of course, it uses this new piece right here, which they also use for Sheriff. And one whole mold right there, just like Lightning McQueen and all the other 2017 Juniors Cars. Speaking of Juniors, this one is Junior Moon, and he is a veteran like Smokey. Those actually were kind of cool characters. I hope they do more if they do continue this Juniors Cars line. You can see the design of him is very cool, kind of similar to Sheriff though, because of the black on silver, or sorry, silver on black. But that's it for Junior Moon. Then the second to last of the new characters in this May 2017 wave, we have Broadside, which has a really ragged design. He's part of the Thunder Hollow Crazy 8 race. And you can see the 25 there. And yes, indeed, Jackson Storm, the main villain of Cars 3, is missing. And that's because he comes out in August. So if this one's popular enough, I'll probably do an update in August featuring him and the new Mack and stuff like that. And then we have this one right here, who is Miss Fritter. And she's a school bus. I really love this design. I think that's so cool. And nice printing on her. And you can see even on her side right there. And she even has this little stop sign right here, which in the movie was more of like a razor blade kind of thing. So here it's kind of weak that they just printed it onto a circular clipped piece, but still a pretty chunky build that's still easy to build for the juniors. A lot of people really want to get this one set that she comes in just for her because she does look pretty cool. So moving on from the 2017 characters, we're going to take a look at the ones introduced in the 2011/2012 line. So this row right here is the Radiator Springs characters, the Queen, and the Spies. So first off, for Radiator Springs characters, we have Sally, who is probably the most important Radiator Springs character besides Mater. And in Cars 3, I would say she's the most important Radiator Springs character besides, well, I mean, Lightning McQueen isn't really from there, so just period, because she has more scenes than Mater from what I could tell. And it's kind of a shame that she only came in one set, like most of the Radiator Springs characters, which is Flo's V8 Cafe. Very nice design all around with some cool printing on the front and back as well. You can see two different printed pieces, which look great. And that's it for Sally. Hopefully one day, I guess with the juniors line, they'll re-release like a V8 Cafe, and then we could probably get Ramon too, and some re-releases like Sally, and my favorite car ever out of all these like Lego builds, Fillmore. I think this is the best car build, and I know this actually attracted a lot of AFOLs as well, because you know they love V8 campers and buses, and he's a V8 bus. Just the printing on this guy alone is fantastic. You can see a printed face up there, a printed face down there, and it's cool how they kind of use this hood piece for his face. And then you have two unique printed sides, which have some very useful pieces. This one says peace and a little bit of a road with the peace sign and even some printing up there. And on this side, totally unique, where it says groovy and love, which looks great. Now these are the same as both sides, but still very cool looking figure, or I guess character. And it's just a great build overall. Of course, he's kind of portrayed as a stoner in Cars, which is funny, but you know, it kind of makes sense. Either way, he was played by George Carlin back in the day in Cars 1, which is a fantastic comedian, unfortunately passed away. But yeah, I always remember him for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which is a great movie. And then we got Flo herself, who, just like Fillmore and Sally, only available in Flo's V8 Cafe. Pretty cool design. I like her older style car design. You know, I'm not too much of a car guy, so I can't really name this one off the bat of what she's based off of, but it just looks great. Lots of nice printing, especially with these 1x3 pieces right there. Great tiles. And very cool looking character. And then the oddest choice for me was Sarge. I don't really know why they chose Sarge in the Flo's V8 Cafe. I would have rather had Ramon, speaking of stoners. He was played by Cheech Marin. Very cool design, but they chose Sarge over him in the Lego set, so I was like, oh, come on. But still, Sarge looks cool because he is still kind of this different type of design for a car. I like how they kind of did that with the V8 Cafe set in general. You got all these different older style cars kind of portrayed as these characters, and it's cool how seeing how Lego built them. But lots of nice printed pieces here with the eyes and the little star up there, grill up here. So yeah, it looks really cool still as a choice. But like I said, I just personally would have rather had Ramon as a character in the V8 Cafe. And the last of the Radiator Springs characters for now would be Red, and that's because Red actually came out in a 2012 set. He did not come in the V8 Cafe, but he came in his own little set, even though he's such a minor character, so it didn't really make sense. It was Red's Water Rescue, and he's a cool build because, you know, it's again kind of like the appeal of some of those Flo's V8 Cafe characters, where it is a different style car in Lego form. A very big car right here. You do have these stickered pieces all around, which are quite interesting. But yeah, that's really it for Red. Very different design. But I guess they chose him for his own set because fire trucks are popular with kids, kind of like how police stuff is popular with kids. That's why Lego City's filled with police stuff. It's what sells, you know. And I kind of stuck the Queen in this line because she's not really a bad guy, and she looks great. And she doesn't really have a place outside of any of the other rows, so she came in Big Bentley's Bust Out, another one of my favorite, actually, car builds in general, because it's just such a weird but cool character to have. And I like her little crown up there. So yeah, that's it for the Queen. And then we move on to the spies. So the first one is the main spy from Cars 2, I guess if you don't count Mater, which is Finn McMissile, British Intelligence, which his design, this one right here, is actually the 2012 single version, because I think that's my favorite version of all the Finn McMissiles, but we'll take a look at the different versions of him later on in the video. This one actually has a gun on the side, a little flick and fire missile, and that nice printed face I really like. And so that's it for Finn McMissile. And then we have Holly Shiftwell, which for some reason she came in 3 sets. All of them were the exact same in terms of printing. Now, when I say different versions of characters, I mean different printing. So yeah, there's a lot of different builds of Mater. There's a lot of different builds of Holly Shiftwell, but there's none with different printing. So that kind of makes me sad. So that's it for Holly Shiftwell, though. And yeah, she comes in a few sets, but unfortunately all with the same printing. So last up for this row is the last spy they had in Lego form, which is Rod Torque Redline, who is honestly the worst Lego Cars. And the reason he looks so weird is because this was a Toys R Us freebie. So they didn't even have printed pieces. They just kind of used stickers on here, which is the only time ever that they use stickers for a Lego Cars character. And it was just it was a free Toys R Us thing, so you can't complain too much, but it was like Bricktober 2011. Very odd choice, honestly. I just wish they would have probably never done him because it just doesn't fit with the other Lego Cars. It looks so blocky. It looks like a Cars from 95 if they had that. But that's it for that row. Next row will be all the racers. All right, so starting off the third row, the first racer is Jeff Gorvette, of course, voiced by Jeff Gordon, a famous American race car driver who I remember appearing on the Velveeta mac and cheese shells boxes. Either way, this was a character from 2012, and he had his own little single $6 set, which is actually kind of cool. And he does reappear in Cars 3, but lots of nice printing on him. He's probably one of my, I guess, more liked Lego Cars characters because I think he looks really cool with the yellow coloring and American imagery. You can tell they really want to appeal to the American market with this. Then they have Raoul. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, and he is the French racer. He appeared in the Ultimate Race set along with Mack Schnell, which was a German racer. He's up next. Either way, this is a cool design with the France kind of coloring and this kind of printing with the white. I love that, where it's kind of like blotched on onto this red. It's actually really kind of diverse in coloring, so I like that. I think it's a very impressive print. And other than that, nice little tail printing as well and a little wing up here. So yeah, very detailed car, and the same could be said with Mack Schnell, who has this nice kind of gray coloring. I like how you kind of almost have a gradient with the German flag coloring on there, and also some nice printing up on the hood, and some really cool colorings with the gray, because this is really the first dark gray Lego car character, so he kind of stands out in that aspect, but that's really it for those racers. And then we have the main rival racer, which is the Italian Francesco, which is really the main rival of Lightning McQueen in Cars 2. Now, he has another version, which we'll get to later, but this is his 2012 version, not his original version, which has that nice Chow McQueen on the back, which is a nice little printed 1x4 tile. Nice kind of Italian flag coloring on there, and a very cool design. And that's really it for Francesco. And then moving on to the last of the foreign racers, we have Show, and this guy actually only appears in the Tokyo Raceway set, and he's actually a really unique design because you can see he has more of a flatter design for his build, which I kind of like how they chose to make him. I know there was another, I think, Japanese racer, which had a green design. I think he only came as a Duplo character, though, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Either way, very nice printing with this front part right here, and then this design, and then the little 1x2 mouth. And then we got some of their pitties. So one of the pitties was Raoul's pitty, which you could see is this nice kind of blue coloring, and he even has a little sticker that says Raoul Ka Raoul, which is on a 1x4. And he's the only pitty with a unique face besides, say, Guido, because these next two actually have the same exact faces. You have Show's pitty, which only comes in the Tokyo. Actually, this isn't Show's, sorry. This is Francesco's pitty, who only comes in the Ultimate Build Francesco and also the Tokyo Raceway set. And then he has the same face as Show's pitty, who only comes in the Tokyo Raceway set too. Also has a little stop fuel sign right there. I like how they use the larger kind of cooking pots for his little earphones right there. I think that's actually kind of a cool build, because usually when they use earphones in this LEGO Cars line, they just use the frying pan, but this one just uses a full pot. So moving on to the last row of these smaller cars, we have the villains. And one of them I'm blocking off because it's kind of a spoiler for Cars 2, so if for some reason you want to see Cars 2, spoiler alert. All right, I'm removing my hand. It's Miles Axelrod, who is actually the main villain of Cars 2. He's behind the scenes of everything, and this guy was included in the Big Bentley Bust Out set, but they didn't really indicate he was a villain in there, which is kind of clever of LEGO. I like that. I do like the design for him too. I think it's a really cool kind of olive green design with some nice printed pieces with the front face and the little mustache going on and the big smile. He looks villainous almost if you look at him. Pretty long. And then on the back there's this really cool printed 1x2 tile right there, which I really appreciate. And then we have Petrov, who came in one set in 2012, the Agent Mater Escape set. And he has a nice little emblem printed 1x2 and even a little design on the back with the 1x4. Very cool design right here. And then we have Grem, which this is one of the most interesting cars because this guy was only released in this orange color once, but it's his proper color. You see, he was released in 2 sets in red in 2011, so we'll see those designs later, but it's kind of cool how LEGO corrected the color of their mistake, so that's pretty nice. And the only one set that he came in this color was the Oil Rig Escape set in 2012. Then you have Acer, who has this nice kind of lime green look, who did come in 2 sets, and one in 2011, one in 2012, but he's like the only 2012 character that didn't get like a new design for some reason. So no new printing there, but he does have nice kind of visor there and a flamethrower and even a tank at the back. And then you have Professor Zundap, or Professor Z, which this is his 2012 version. I love that little magnifying glass and that crazy face, but he was a really fun villain. I actually think he was one of my favorite parts of Cars 2, one of the most memorable parts. But other than that, he does kind of have a small, compact design. And he comes in a few sets in 2011 and then one set in 2012 with this updated design. So that's it for the smaller cars and regular cars. Now we're going to take a look at the other vehicles and the bigger vehicles. So here are the non-cars / bigger vehicles of the LEGO Cars line. I guess we'll start with Mack. So with Mack, you have this big truck that actually does appear in a 2017 set, but that one isn't out, so if I ever do a second one of these, it will be in there. Either way, I love the design for this, and it's actually a really popular set because Mack in general is a pretty darn popular character because he is this big kind of trailer for Lightning McQueen. He does disconnect onto this front kind of part right here, and then of course you have the back trailer, which has some nice designs on there. I did a full review on this set, so go check that out if you're more interested in a closer look. But that is it for Mack the truck. And then there's Sidley the plane, which is a pretty popular set, I would say, because, you know, it's a cool kind of spy plane. But one thing that I don't like about it is this back design right here, where it's just kind of vacant. Either way, he is the biggest vehicle in the Cars line with Mack. A very interesting design where some pieces are printed, like this front part, but these little windows on the side are actually stickers. It's kind of weird how they made this simplified car plane in this $50 set. And you can see where they really did cut the corners. Like I said, this part looks so bad with the opening right there. But we'll get to that in a review later on. So that's it for now for this big vehicle. Now let's go on to a little bit of the smaller, unconventional vehicles. So here is Tony Tryhole the boat, which I remember a commenter told me, so thank you to whomever said that. I forgot who it was. But this design is kind of interesting because it's massively downsized from when it was revealed in the movie. And they kind of made that to make it a $20 set where you could put Professor Z right on the back, which is kind of a fun set in general. I do like it, and I did do a review of it, I think, a month or 2 back. But that's it for the boat design, Tony Tryhole. Then you have a crane, which, yeah, even the cranes are sentient, which doesn't make any sense. I feel bad for this guy. I mean, he can't even move from this one position, so that means he was born and raised right on this one oil rig. He comes in the 2012 Oil Rig Escape set, but he does kind of rotate. I'll be reviewing the Oil Rig Escape set soon, but that's really it for this crane. Nice printed face right here, but the stickers on the side are kind of annoying to put on. So there's one more character left, and that is Leland Turbo. Not Leland Palmer, Leland Turbo, who does use 2 stickers on the side of the box, and then one printed 2x2 tile for his eyes. Very creepy. This was a live car that was compacted into a cube in the Cars 2 movie, which is actually a really dark movie for aspects like that. That's really it for the last of the LEGO Cars characters, but we're not done yet because now we got to compare all the different versions of popular characters, so we'll get to that next. And so now for the final part of the video, all the different variations. So right here is all the characters that have different versions across various sets and all their different versions. So let's start with the Lightning McQueen group. So I guess we'll do left to right as oldest to newest. Now, if they're released in the same year, I guess it could be in any order. But this one is literally the first LEGO Cars set because this is Radiator Springs Lightning McQueen, which is the first in numbering. The side's a little bit different, and the eyes are shifted to the right a bit, and also he has kind of a smile there. So those are all the unique parts for him. But this design came in the smallest set of Radiator Springs Lightning McQueen, but also Flo's V8 Cafe. This one right here, which is next up, is only in the Mack set from 2011, and he has a more sincere look on his face. His mouth is kind of opened. He has a very Owen Wilson look, I guess is the right way to describe it. I could just look at that and just picture Lightning McQueen's voice coming out, which is, of course, voiced by Owen Wilson. Now, there's some differences between these two. There's like little lightning bolts right there, and the biggest difference would be the side right here, which is probably the most recognizable Lightning McQueen design. But it's kind of weird that it only came in one set. Now these two right here are the only 2011 ones to have the wing kind of built up like this where it's hinged. And this one in particular has the Rusty's logo on the back. Then we have the Grand Prix one. This one right here is actually the design from 2011 for some of the sets like the Big Bentley Bust Out set, the Tokyo International Speedway set, and the Racing Rivalry set. And this one, it's probably the most common, I guess, out of all the Lightning McQueens because it does come in like 3 sets. And the design has kind of a squiggly face for the mouth, and the design for like the actual printing up here is identical to the next one, and the same is for the design for the side and the top. But the next one is exclusive because if you see, his mouth is a little bit different, and that's because this is a 2012 set from the Ultimate Race set. And this design is particularly unique because not only for that mouth right there, but on the back, you can see he has a printed 1x4 that says Ciao Francesco, which is kind of a nice print. But that's it for all the original cars for Lightning McQueen. Now, if we move on, we go on to the 2017 Juniors line. Of course, there's a different build going on there where it's just one whole build on the bottom as opposed to, built up from different pieces. Now, the design for these also have the 1x2 tile up front, which I like better, I think. I think they should have done that with the original line instead of these 1x2 plates. And they also have the new kind of wing piece on the back where it's just one whole piece and it's always slanted up. This one's sort of like a remake of the Max Team Race one, but this came in the Speed Launcher set. Very similar side printing as well, but just everything's more refined. And then this one right here came in Smokey's Garage. That nice kind of gold printing with Rusty's all over and a very smiley, happy face. Some nice printing on the side as well with the gold. And then this one right here came in the Crazy 8 set, or the Thunder Hollow Crazy 8 race. It's just this one right here, but with some dirt on it, which also gives it a worried look. I love when they kind of have old prints or prints in other sets and they kind of print over or add on to it. So I kind of find this really impressive because they literally just added dirt to this and it gives it a very authentic look. And then this last one right here is from the Speed Training set at Willie's Butte, and that design is kind of his recovery design, which wasn't really prominent in the movie at all. I think it only had a few scenes, so it's kind of interesting that we still got this design. But it's a cool kind of sand blue look, so I do appreciate that. And it's very different from the other ones for that. But it won't be the last blue Lightning McQueen we get. And then we move on to Cruz Ramirez. Cruz has 2 designs. This one is from the Cruz Ramirez Racing Simulator set, which is a cheap little $10 junior set. And then this one right here is from the Thunder Hollow Crazy 8 race set, where she has some dirt on her. I kind of wish this one had a little bit of a more worried face because during the movie she was very worried during that scene, so it's not really fitting to have a smiley face, but it is a new smile between the two, so I like that. Also, I kind of wish they gave another eye expression for her like they did with Lightning McQueen and all of them, but it's fine as it is. So the next character we'll move on to the different versions of is Guido and Luigi. So Guido right here, this is a 2011 version which has appeared in the Ultimate Build Lightning McQueen set, the Tokyo International Speedway set, and also the Tokyo Pit Stop set, and a polybag. So he's appeared in a lot. Unfortunately, they're all the same design. A little bit of differences in the builds, but remember, these different versions are just based on new prints. So nothing different between the prints. And then this one right here is the one from the Guido and Luigi's Pit Stop set. And also, I believe it's the same one that's going to appear in the Florida 500 set, which comes out in August. This one, I think, is still a downgrade from the 2011 version, but it's okay. I don't mind it that much. But then when we move on to Luigi, oh my gosh, what did they do to you, Luigi? This one is the one from 2011. It's the same kind of case with Guido, where he does appear in two sets, the Tokyo Pit Stop and the Tokyo International Speedway set, but both have the same kind of prints. They don't have the same builds. And I'm really just judging these based on the prints they have, the printed versions. But then this one comes only in Luigi and Guido's Pit Stop, and this is such a downsize from the 2011 version. It's so much smaller. It doesn't look complete at all, and it looks too kiddie compared to this version. This version's pretty accurate, but this one just looks very inaccurate and ugly. Anyways, moving on to Mater. Again, like I said, we're just comparing different versions of prints, because if we compare different versions of builds, there would be like a billion different Agent Maters, because each Agent Mater set has different builds to it for the character himself, but the prints are the same, unfortunately. So this one is Radiator Springs Mater, or Classic Mater. He appears in two sets, the $6 Classic Mater set and then the Flo's V8 Cafe set. This one is a mix of two Agent Maters, but like I said, they all have the same prints except for this part right here, which isn't really a print, it's a stickered piece. This stickered piece appears in the Big Bentley Bust Out set, and I was kind of deciding whether I should do two versions of Agent Mater or just keep this one version. I was like, I should just do one version with the bomb right there. So there's not much of a difference in the printing on the eyes at all, which is kind of sad. I mean, if you include Agent Mater in so much sets, you could at least change up the eyes a bit. And then this gun right here is actually from Mater's Spy Zone. Just kind of added that in to represent those two sets. And then this one right here is from Agent Mater's Escape, which they did actually do different eyes for him, which is cool. So I do appreciate that. And this one actually has this build up here with this parachute, paraglider, or whatever you want to call it. And that was a 2012 version. And then we have two more, which is Ivan Meta. And Ivan Meta had his own 2012 set. Very cool design with this blue print, or blue kind of coloring. I like that, and I like the mix of this kind of dark red piece right here. It's a very cool variant to Mater with some new prints. And then we do have the 2017 version, which I guess we could compare the two right here. 2017 version, I guess they knew Mater won't have such a big role in the movie as he did in, say, Cars 2. So they just made him in one set, which was Mater's Junkyard. These are very different. I mean, the other cars between their 2011 and 2017 versions are different, but this is probably the most different, where he doesn't even have a slope to him. He's just kind of flat like this, because they do just use that one piece base, while the original, was built up of different pieces and had a little bit of a slope to it. They also use 2x4 tiles right here, which are printed instead of 2x4 brick. So very interesting in their variations. Even their little mirrors are different, which is quite weird. I don't know why the light is switched, because the official build for the light is right here, and the official build for the 2011 light is always on the left. So don't know what that's about. Even their little towing cranes or hooks or whatever are different. So very interesting changes between the two. But that's it for the 2017 and 2011 variations. And so the last row of variations, we have Francesco, which this version right here is a 2011 version, and this version right here is a 2012 version. The 2011 version appears in two sets. Interestingly enough, both are retail exclusive sets. Actually, all three Francescos, because there's also the Ultra build sets, which I didn't want to display here because they're kind of irrelevant, but maybe next time I'll display them. But all three of them were retail exclusive sets, because he appears in the Racing Rivalry, which was $15. I think it was a Target exclusive, and then Tokyo International Speedway set, which was a Toys R Us exclusive, but both are the same versions. Then this one right here was a wide release set, which was just a single $6 set for Francesco. And the difference is, you could see they have that nice 1x4 printed piece on the back. There's also a little double cheese slope right there. I don't know if that's up with the build. And then there's a little bit of a different facial expression and eye expression. So there's a lot of differences between these two versions. And then we move on to Finn McMissile, and this version right here is the basic Agent Finn McMissile from 2012. There's two versions. I mean, there's this one's from the Sea Escape, I forget what it's called, and also in the Big Bentley Bust Out set. But the Big Bentley Bust Out set has a little bit of a different build, but you know, both have the same printing, and his eyes are kind of shifted to the left a little bit, and he has a smile right there. This one does have different printing because it's kind of a disguise, and this was in the Spy Jet Escape set, where he kind of has some nice kind of lettering on the side, and these are all printed pieces, very cool printed pieces, may I add. The eye design is the same as the other 2011 Finn McMissiles. The mouth's a little bit different. Yeah, just a really cool design, and that was in the Spy Jet Escape set. And then this one right here is from his single $6 set, kind of like what Francesco had in 2012. And just like Francesco, all the designs are different. So his eyes are a little bit different from the regular 2012 version. And for some reason, his mouth's different, even though it's basically the same expression. I don't really get why they chose the same expression twice. Maybe they should have done him not showing his teeth. I don't know. But you can see the differences between those two. And then this one is the one that appears in the Oral Rig Escape set, where his eye expression is also different as well. So that's really the main difference between these three. But his mouth is actually the same as the one from 2011. So that is it for Finn McMissile. And then we have Grem, which, you know, it's kind of cool that they updated Grem in 2012. This one was in a polybag. This is actually specifically the polybag build, but also the same prints appeared in the Spy Plane Escape set. And the updated one from 2012 was made to fit his actual appearance in the movie, and in the movie he's orange, so it makes sense that they did that. Also different builds where this kind of front headlights and everything are printed in the original version, and then they're brick built in the newer version, and his mouth is placed on the bottom. So kind of interesting how they changed a lot up just to fit the accuracy. And then lastly, for our variant look, it's Professor Z, which is a really fun character. And he has two different versions, one from 2011, one from 2012. The 2011 set appears in sets like the Sea Escape set with Finn McMissile, and also the Big Bentley Bust Out set, also with Finn McMissile. Then the 2012 version right here, the only difference is his front face, where he has a really kind of angry look. I love that look. And this design appeared in the Oral Rig Escape set. But other than that, they're the same printing, because that's really the only printed piece, the one up front. So that is it for all the variants of the Cars characters, and let's do one little summary, I guess. So overall, I hope this video made you guys appreciate the LEGO Cars theme, because you see people think that just because you don't like the movie means you can't like the LEGO theme. And look, Lone Ranger, I think, had the best LEGO theme in years, and that movie was pretty bad. The LEGO Cars line, Cars 1 was okay, Cars 2 was bad, and Cars 3 I think is the best out of the three, but that one's just pretty good. And I love the variations in this line, where they capture all these colorful characters and they use all these different pieces and different builds, and they made them all in this unified kind of scale. I love that about this line, and I hope that this line continues, even if it is as a juniors line. But that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know which LEGO Cars sets you want me to review that I haven't reviewed yet, because I have all of them, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.